Kick us off.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our talk with Age Well, Northern Kentucky. We're here talking about one of the most important and sometimes overwhelming parts of aging, getting support at home. I'm Anna Gurley.
Hey guys, and I'm Aaron Smith. We're part of the Aaron Smith team here in Northern Kentucky, and we specialize in helping seniors and their families find the right resources and information. And that's what we've got our guest on today. Caulette, if you want to give us a little introduction about you and your company, we can start to plug you with questions that might be helpful.
Okay, certainly. Hello, my name is Caulette Talbert. I'm with Heaven Sent Care. We are a non-medical in-home care provider. And I know a lot of people are like, what exactly does that mean? Non-medical means that we can come into your home and help with personal care, things such as med reminders, light housekeeping. We can help with bathing, getting our clients out to their doctor's appointments, grocery stores, and just companionship.
Anna and I work with a lot of seniors, and we see a lot of people in just different stages of aging. And that is why I love this conversation, because there's so much of a need for this. And a big conversation that we have in real estate is aging in place. People hear that phrase used a lot. What does that mean to you?
Aging in place. Well, first of all, let me throw out a statistic I heard when I started my career here. There are 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 a day, 10,000. I've recently heard that's jumped to like 15,000. There's just not going to be enough room in the facilities for all of us to age in place, or for all of us to have a place to go. So we're going to need to age in place in the future. And it's really important. What that means, aging in place, is being able to stay in your home. When you're getting older, you want to stay in your home because you're familiar. You know how to move around your house and all of your belongings are there. So you want to be able to stay home and age in place.
Oh,
Now,
sure, those are all great points.
Mhm.
So I was also wondering about what kind of services does Heaven Sent Care offer, with people who want to age in their home?
So the first thing we do at Heaven Sent Care is we'll go out to the home and do an assessment. So say a client has mobility issues and they're having difficulty getting around. They may have a walker. We will come into the home and just chat with them for a while. We want them to feel comfortable with us, get to know them a little bit. And we'll go around and see, do they have throw rugs that could cause them, to trip or get their foot caught or their walker caught? Maybe they need help getting in and out of the shower. So let's install grab bars so you can, make it easier to get in and out of the shower, use the restroom. Maybe they'll need a wheelchair ramp. They have steps and they're struggling to get up and down the steps, that sort of thing. So we kind of do an evaluation of the home along with the needs of the client to see, how we can help them out so they can stay in their home.
You mind if I touch on that? You mentioned something when you introduced yourself about what you do that wasn't in the list that you just gave there, is the companionship.
Companionship.
And Anna has seen this with her mom, and I've seen this with my family as well, where as we age, we become a little bit more reclusive. The social environment kind of decays a little bit, and we kind of bring our environment into the home. I can only imagine that you probably have some examples on how companionship has helped somebody's parents or their family.
Absolutely. During COVID, when COVID hit, that was such a big issue, especially in assisted living facilities, because they weren't the elderly or their members at the facilities. They weren't allowed to leave their rooms. So that really, like you said, shrunk their circle. And also just being in your room all day watching TV really leads to depression. And that's so common in the elderly because, like you said, that their circle shrinks. They don't want to leave their house because they're afraid they might fall or they don't have someone. That's where Heaven Sent Care, we can come in and we have care. Our caregivers we have caregivers that take clients to mass on Sundays, to bingo through the week, to family events. I mean, we've had caregivers, fly out of town with a client to go to a family wedding. So, and all of that is so important just to keep them out and keep them social.
They flew out of town with them to go to a wedding?
Yes, absolutely. We've had that several times.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's pretty nice. You don't usually find that kind of stuff in
Well,
in-home care.
and as a child of an aging parent, I could only imagine how comforting that would make me if I knew that I had somebody to assist, and they've got somebody there with them and they're not alone. So uh,
Right.
that is such a huge service that I didn't even know that somebody would fly out of town and
We customize our care model. I'll jump ahead a little bit, but our care model, we customize around the client's needs, what their children or kids, I should say, want. So sometimes it's just a weekend. They're going on vacation and we need to just be there for the weekend with their parent just so they can go away and have that peace of mind that someone's there with their parent taking care of them. So we do now, I will say we do draw a line. So we had to draw a line once where we had someone wanted us to take their parent out to bars. And yeah, we said, nope, that's too much of a crazy liability. So that's something we wouldn't do. But we can, we've taken clients to church, to the grocery store, to doctor's appointments, hair appointments, and our caregivers. We match our caregivers to the need of the client, that skill set, and they develop a connection or a bond with that client pretty quickly. So it's almost like having your friend with you or your daughter. They have that connection, so they feel comfortable, and the companionship. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, you have a total full service of any kind of wants or needs. So with families, have you had like children reach out to you to, help with their parent? And do you maybe have a story about how that all worked out and maybe it was a successful conclusion?
Yes, and we get a lot of frantic phone calls from children who, one day their parent is fine and the next day they've had a fall or something and they start going downhill. And that's why we always try to tell, when I'm out speaking, I try to tell people, have a plan. Yes, you're fine today. Take our brochure home. Don't throw it away. Read it over. Come visit us if you want. So you get a feel for our company and put it in the drawer. So when the day comes, you do need it, you have somebody there waiting. But we had a client who their son called us about care for their father. The mom has MS and she's wheelchair bound. She's unable to bend her legs. So her legs are always straight out. So we were called for the father. We were taking care of him. He was her main caregiver and he passed away. And so the family decided to move the mom to North Carolina, closer to them. They sold their house. She was aging in place. They sold their house. So they moved her to North Carolina, and one of our caregivers flew on the plane to help get her through the airport and get her settled. She went to an assisted living and was not happy there. Was not happy. The care service there at the facility was not that great. And she was used to our caregivers who, I'm prejudiced, but they're wonderful. And the difference was striking. She wasn't happy. She wanted to come back. Well, they had sold her house. So they did finally get her back to Northern Kentucky. She is in a facility, but they're currently looking for her to have a condo. And she, once again, has our caregivers. So she's delighted to be back and have that familiarity and compassion and comfort.
I think that says a lot about who you guys are. And the fact that somebody experienced what you provide and then they went somewhere else and they just couldn't get that level of care somewhere else. So that's a great testimonial for who you are.
I think so. And we we are not a franchise. We are locally owned and operated. And I think that's the big difference with our company. Our company culture is servant leadership. So we do everything we can to help our caregivers when they need it. And they know they can come into the office if they're struggling in any way and sit down and talk to Julie and Don. And we help them out. We give them that support. And I think that means a lot. And we don't have a big turnover. And Julie always says they have to be Julie. You know, they pass the interview, the background check, all that, but they have to pass the Julie test. And that's the big one. And we just have great caregivers.
That's a great, like I said, that is a that level of comfort that they have with your company and the caregivers is just it just speaks volumes because there's a lot of concern when families have somebody, taking care of their parent. It's almost like somebody's taking care of my mom. It's like they're taking care of my kids. It's like I love this
Right.
person. I want to make sure that they're treated well. Um, so one of the things that we do, Anna and I, as a team, when we help seniors and their families, is we recommend that we don't wait for an event like a loved one passing away. We don't wait for a fall. We go ahead and build a team ahead of time. We know that if we need to start getting help in the home, we know that we've vetted out somebody who we can trust. The time's not right now, but we know where we're going to go when that time comes. And you mentioned that you are non-medical care. So
Hmm.
I'd like to find out where that line comes when does it become, hey, I'm going to refer you to somebody who can help you provide medical care in the home, that we can't do that because of, specialty and needs and stuff.
Absolutely. So say a client has a wound and that has to be dressed every day. That's something we're not allowed to do. That's when we have medical, home medical companies that we work with hand in hand. So we'll pick up the phone and call one of them and say, hey, we have this client, they need this. We take them and introduce them. And then we kind of pass that off. So we can still stay there and help them with their daily needs, but then we get them that medical attention they need, which we can't provide, or shot, you know. We're licensed with the state of Kentucky and Ohio. And so, for an example, with the med reminders, we are not allowed to take a prescription out of the bottle. But if you, as a child, one of their kids, takes it and puts it in a Medipack, we can open that Medipack and put it in their hand or in a little, cup something and say it's time to take your medicine. But we can't take it directly from the bottle. That's an example there too, where a licensed nurse could do that.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And we're really good about, Julie is really on top of our clients. So she knows what's going on all the time. Our caregivers are very well trained. If they go in and someone's not feeling right or there's something off, they'll call Julie and they'll say, if it's something really urgent, they know right away, call, 911. If they have a fall, call 911, get them there. If they have a fever or something, they'll call Julie, they'll call whoever is their POD on our information, a daughter, a son, and say, hey, this is going on with your mom. I notice she's not quite right today. How do you want me to proceed from here? And they'll either call the doctor, we'll take them to the doctor. So we're really proactive as far as their health too. And when we know, same thing with when we know they're at that point where they really shouldn't be at home anymore. When they've reached that point, a lot, we think you need to call hospice in now, or maybe they need to go into a skilled nursing home for a while just to get their health back and then come back home.
It's almost like you guys are family with a purpose.
We are. That's a really good analogy. A family with a purpose.
That's the way I can just describe it just from hearing you talk. So
Mhm.
Yeah, that seems like that's the most common concerns that families might have, is all those things you just described. Would you say so?
I would definitely say so. I mean, family members want to know when they leave that their loved one is in the hands of someone who is trained and caring and will keep them at home and safe in the home.
Sure. So as a person who actually does take care of their aging mother, I've run into situations where, sometimes I feel guilty about things or I get burned out. Is there some way for, your caregiving services to help the family like myself?
Certainly, we can come in and take care of your family member so you can get out. Maybe you want to go away for a long weekend, get out and get that respite you need from that burden, because it is a burden. I mean, people hate that word, but you love your parent, but when you're with them 24/7 and they're ill or they're struggling with dementia, it's a real burden. And just that break, even if it's just 4 hours, to go see a movie or go to the grocery store by yourself and just take that time away. It's amazing when people do that, finally do that. And then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? Because they
Right.
feel guilty, like you said, for leaving, but you're helping them too by doing that and taking care of yourself.
Well, sure. I feel like at least maybe they get to see a different face and it's not the same face like mine 24/7 because that gets old
Oh,
fast.
Anna, you have a sweet face, but that's true too. Just somebody else to talk to,
Sure.
you know, and play
Here's
cards. Some of our caregivers are great card players. They do paint by numbers, all kinds of stuff. They don't want to just sit around. While they're there, they want to be working. And like I said, they get that great connection with the client, and they really do have a good time. They really do.
Good.
So, in getting to know you a little bit through this conversation, I'm sure that our viewers and audience is going to, they're going to feel the same feelings I am, that very intrigued by this. Which, brings my next question. When somebody reaches out to you for the first time, let's just say that I called your company today, what are some of the questions that people ask you first that they might ask on their first call?
When we get that first call, and a lot of times, like I said, they're frantic, sometimes not, just sometimes they're just calling around getting some ideas. And they want to know how, like, what do we do? When we come into the home, what do we do? Are are your caregivers bonded? We're bonded, background check. They have TB shots, and the majority of them keep up on their COVID, because when you work in this industry, when you work with the elderly, you want to do everything you can to keep them healthy. So you're going to get that COVID shot, even though that's something we can't make them do, like the TB shot, that's a requirement. I would say 98% of our caregivers do keep up with the COVID shot. So they want to know all that. They want to know, oh, they're drug screened also. Are they drug screened? They want to know who's coming into their home, how much, our care cost, and also the hours. What are your hour? When can you come? How long? How, short of a time? And all of that, our care model, like I said earlier, our care model is modeled around the client's needs. So we can be there as little or as much as they need.
So when you do get that frantic call, because Anna and I see this happen a lot, is that there's maybe some planning done, but not really like a I don't know, like the break the glass and grab the fire extinguisher.
Right,
And it's
right.
like that plan may not be together yet. So when somebody gives you a call and says, "Hey, I'm going to need help because this thing happened," whether it's a stroke or a fall or something, about how much time would it take to onboard a new family and start the care?
We've done it in as quickly as the same day.
Hmm.
Now, that's just depends on where we were at caregiver ratio, to client. But generally, I would say we can do it within 24 hours to 48, just
Wow,
depending on the need.
that's
If
impressive.
it's an urgent call, um, Julia's really good. She'll say, tell me what's going on, what's going on, get all that information out. And then, she immediately starts thinking about who we have available and how we can meet that need. But we try to do it within the first 24 to 48 hours. If it's an urgent call, if it's not an urgent call, if somebody just calls and says, hey, I know this, mom's declining. She can get around, but we're a little worried. Then we may take a little bit longer. We'll go out and do the assessment. And then we'll say it takes a little bit of time for us to build a team. Generally, if it's a non-urgent, I would say 4 days. But if it's an urgent situation, we try to do it as quickly as possible. We get a lot of referrals from hospice, and those are really quick. So we do a quick turnaround on those.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure you get those calls where mom was in the hospital or dad was in the hospital and they've entered rehab. And so they need to come home, but they can't come home totally by themselves. So do you find that you get those types of calls as well?
We do all the time. So they're leaving rehab tomorrow. What do we do? Can you start tomorrow? And like I said, sometimes it's a little shuffle, but we generally can cover, and we'll ask, how much for in the beginning, how much time does family members have that they can maybe fill a gap? Like maybe we can do, 8 to 1. Could a family member be there for a few hours, and then we'll have somebody there at night, just in the beginning to cover that first coming home. Sometimes that works out too. Sure. But generally we can get it covered pretty quickly.
What is there something that you wish more families knew, or that more families practiced when it comes to your side of things?
That's a good question. I think having a plan is number one that I would say. Like me, I'm 66 and I'm in great shape, but you don't know. You just don't know. And just have a plan. No, call some companies, kind of feel the vibe and see who you think you might like, have a number on hand. Like I said, come visit us, because you just don't know when it's going to happen. And it amazes me when I go out and talk that a lot of people don't even know about, non-medical and home care. And a big question is, does Medicare cover it? No, Medicare doesn't, sadly. And hopefully they will in the future. I know that in the legislature in Kentucky, they're really been, fighting that for about 5 years to get that covered. They do cover home health, which is like a Sainese coming out a couple of times a week. But they don't cover in-home care. So I wish most families kind of knew all of that, in advance.
That's a great point, because I think a lot of people don't start to discover these things until the need is right now.
And there are a lot of people who have done great planning and have long-term care insurance, which we accept long-term care insurance, and that's a great padding to have as far as financially for that.
Of course. All right. That is a great introduction to you and your team. Great testimonials from people who maybe got your care and then they tried something different in a different area and then needed to come back. I think our clients and customers are going to love you. So,
good. I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Anna, you want to close us out?
Oh, well, Caulette, is so nice of you to join us today. Really enjoyed the experience. I think that you've given us a lot of great information, and we'll put your contact information down in the comment section, or and so they can reach out to you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Is there a website or any information you want to share that people can go check you out?
Our website is www.heavensent.care, not care, C-A-R-E. And we do have our commercial running on there. If somebody wants to kind of just, you can watch the commercial. Our Facebook page is at Heaven Sent Care, and we do post daily on there. Our phone number it's a Cincinnati number because Julie started working from home using her cell phone, but we are in Kentucky. It's 513-907-9007. And we welcome anyone who has any questions to give us a call. We'd be glad to talk to you.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Well, until next time.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Anna.
Take care and age well.
Age well, in place.